Good morning. Welcome to this week's webinar, where we're going to be discussing this morning with two experts in the reentry workforce development initiatives that are taking place not only here in Northwest Tennessee, but all across the country. Reentry work, if you are not familiar with that terminology, is the hiring of individuals who have had justice involvement in their past. This month, April, is National Second Chance Month, and it is a month in which employers all across the country recognize the importance of hiring individuals who have had justice involvement in their past and need a second chance. Everyone deserves a second chance. And the panelists that we have with us today to discuss reentry workforce development is Sheriff Paul Thomas, who wrote the textbook here in Northwest Tennessee on how to successfully build relationships in his community and surrounding communities that reduce recidivism rates across our region, but also benefit employers in the region by developing a viable, strong workforce using individuals who have had justice involvement in their past, and actually individuals who have justice involvement currently happening in their life. And Sheriff Thomas will speak a little bit about that perspective from it as well. And then also we have a testimonial today with an employer who has had great success using individuals through reentry workforce development, Kaiyuh Services in Milan, Tennessee. Mr. Sid Crocker, who is the Customer Relations and Business Development Director for Kaiyuh Services, is going to share a testimonial with you on Kaiyuh's experience. So at this time, I am going to turn the program over to Sheriff Thomas and let him open the program with sharing his insights on how this all began here in Northwest Tennessee, the successes that he has seen, the challenges that he has seen, and what he wants you to know as an employer as to how you could benefit our region and your company by hiring reentry workers. Sheriff Thomas, I'll let you take it away.
And thank you, Maleia. Thanks for having me on here today. So I took office for the first time as sheriff here in Gibson County in 2014. And we was faced with a lot of challenges early on. The least of my worries initially was reentry and the recidivism rate. But after I got settled in and started kind of feeling my way around the sheriff's office, I noticed that recidivism was a huge issue here at Gibson County. At the time, we were at about 80% recidivism rate, which meant about 80% of the people incarcerated in my facility had been incarcerated in this particular facility before. That's not to say the rest of them hadn't been somewhere else. That was just the numbers that I had in front of me here. And as I got to researching it, that seemed like a really high number to me, and come to find out it really was. So I started trying to get to the root cause of what was causing these people to reoffend, if you will. And what I found, the most common denominator was, it wasn't that they were necessarily reoffending, it was the financial burden was causing a lot of them to find themselves back incarcerated. By that, I mean, once they would get in trouble and have a run-in with the law and go to court, they would get a huge financial burden put on them. Then they would get the stigma of having been in jail, and they would have trouble finding employment, or while they were in jail, they would lose their driver's license, and these court costs and fines would build up. And then when they couldn't get employment and pay that stuff off, they would find themselves back incarcerated again. And it was just a revolving door. So we started trying to think of ways that maybe we could reduce that. And we started in 2016, 17, started having conversations about it. 2018, we got serious about it. And we decided to try to start working men here from my correctional facility. And when I first started meeting with employers in the area, I got laughed out of a lot of conference rooms, a lot of plant managers' offices. They would warm up to the idea at first, and they would say, "So you want us to hire people who've been incarcerated?" I said, "Well, kinda." I said, "I want you to hire people currently incarcerated." And that's when I would usually get shown to the door. And what I would remind these people is the people I was talking about weren't doing life in jail. They're getting out, in a year or two anyway, and returning to our communities. So I just saw it as an opportunity while we had our thumb on them and could kind of control their finances and help them pay their court costs and fines off, that it just kind of behooved us as community leaders to try to get them plugged back into the workforce. And once I got a couple industries to buy into it, they saw the huge benefit of it. They saw the reliability of these men because we bring them to the job site and pick them up every day. So they got a reliable employee that shows up. They're drug and alcohol free because we drug test them weekly. The courts were seeing a huge return on the financial side because these men were paying off fines, court costs, back child support, paying off traffic tickets, getting their license back together. And we saw just how this thing was just kind of evolving right in front of us, faster and bigger than we ever dreamed it would. It got to the point where some of those people that laughed me out of their conference rooms started reaching back out to me and said, "Hey, we heard where this is going on. We want to get on board now." And I would just have to tell them it's too late. We only have so many people that I can utilize for our work program, and we have more opportunities out there. Just a couple quick stats. We've put approximately 600 men through our work program, some that were incarcerated and post-incarceration as well. With that group of individuals that we put through our program, our recidivism rate with that group of men is down to about 13%. And remember, I told you early on, our recidivism rate was nearly 80% early on. Couple the work with some educational tools and some opportunities we offer them in jail, we have shown that plugging them back into society and helping them get on their feet and giving them the tools they need is benefiting everyone involved. It's benefiting the taxpayers because we aren't having to incarcerate these individuals as long and as often. It's benefiting me as a sheriff who runs a fairly large correctional facility by county jail standards, and the employers are reaping the benefits of men that are motivated to prove to society they're not bad. They just made some mistakes, and they just need someone to give them an olive branch to help them get back on their feet. And we're putting families back together. We're putting men back in the lives of their kids. They're getting debt free to the court. We're seeing men, after being in our program for maybe 2 years, leaving our program debt free to the courts for the first time in years for many of them. And some of them have managed to save up $10,000 and $15,000 in their savings account that they get to leave here with. And that's life changing for these men as they get out of jail, and they can put that money towards housing, towards vehicles, towards just helping their family get started again. And it's been a tremendous success here. The first fiscal year that we did this program, we returned almost $100,000 back to the courts for back child support, traffic tickets, and fines. That's money that the courts probably never would have seen. And that's money owed that would have got these men reincarcerated eventually and put right back into the criminal justice system and the revolving door. And I'm thankful for people like Sid Crocker and Kaiyuh Services in Milan that has, took a chance with us and saw the benefits of this. And now I'd just like Sid to maybe share some of his experiences with the justice involved individuals that we provided for him.
Thanks, Sheriff Thomas, and thanks for allowing myself and Kaiyuh Services to come in and talk with you about the men that you've provided us. We've had great work over the last couple of years. The guys that come in from this program knock out two things that all employers are having trouble with right now: getting qualified people to work and getting them there on time. And that's half the battle right now. And these guys show up to work every day and they are ready to work. When we offer overtime, they're chomping at the bit to work overtime, which is great for us. The big thing is Kaiyuh believes in a second chance. This program is providing these men a chance to get life straight. And then what we've seen from some of the success stories and the way I feel like we've been able to really benefit from the program is from their first couple of weeks at our facility, we tell these guys, hey, when you're out, we want you full time. Once we figured out that this is a a motivated individual who's had some trouble and is getting over that, and they're a great worker, I want to hire them out of this program. That can be one of the cons sometimes. They may have longer in the program than I want, because I want to hire them on as soon as we can. But that's a problem that we're always willing to work around. But these guys come in ready to work and are willing to learn. And we show them at our facility, and we're primarily in our Milan location. We're a federal contractor. We build boxes for the military. So these guys are getting hands-on experience with nail guns and saws, and getting forklift training. And we're getting some of them, CPR certifications and first aid certifications and AED certification, skills that they're going to be able to use. Hopefully they're going to use those with us when they get out. But these men are work hard. But where we've seen, and what I would tell employers, we work with Sheriff Thomas throughout their employment with us. I make sure to call the sheriff and call the guys running the program periodically to say, hey, you need to let this individual know he's doing a great job right now. We see that he's putting in the extra effort. We see that he's asking for extra tasks to learn, to build his skill base, and just treating them like adults and letting them know that there's a chance for them when all this trouble is over, that life's going to go on, and they can do better, and they are doing better. And that encouragement is a lot. I can share with you, some industries are bigger than others. We're a relatively small plant with about anywhere from 30 to 50 people at a time. But just a couple of weeks ago, I cleared it with Sheriff Thomas and the guys who run the program. We had people work on a Saturday, and we gave some people some time off if they worked on a Saturday. And a few of the guys through the work program, we couldn't really give them paid time off like we do full-time employees. So I called Sheriff Thomas, called the guys in the program, and those guys just hung out with me for the afternoon. We went and played some basketball. The local high school team was playing baseball. We went out to the park and hung out, had some concession stands, but really let these guys know we care about you and we want you to do better. And that is, you can see a difference. You can see a difference from when they start with us the first couple of weeks versus their attitude and their work ethic months down the road. And that's a combination of, I think, us working with them and also the encouragement they get from the justice side. Well, we've had great success with guys who are currently in the justice program right now, but our biggest success stories are the guys who stay with us after they're out of the program. We encourage them when it's time for them to get out and they've earned their freedom back. We want them to stay in Milan. We want them to stay with us because we're a great place to work. And these guys are coming out with a good paying job, health insurance, retirement. These are things that these guys need for themselves and their families. And you can see the relief on their faces and in their attitudes when they know that those things are taken care of. And staying here and not moving back to where they had gotten in trouble sometimes, I believe helps. They've gotten a fresh start. And we couldn't have done any of this without the Northwest Tennessee Workforce Board. They've been great to work with. They've helped us through all the steps that we needed to comb through to make sure that we were doing everything correctly. And for any employers that are thinking about going through this program, I would highly encourage you to do so. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to field any questions that you have. Just reach out to the Workforce Board. They'll get in touch with us through email, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Thank you, Sid and Sheriff Thomas, for that wonderful information from the law enforcement perspective and the employer perspective on workforce development through reentry, using reentry workers or justice-involved individuals. From the Workforce Board standpoint, We would love an opportunity to visit with you, employers who are interested in beginning to use reentry workers as a tool for developing your workforce. If you're not already doing so and already participating in the on-the-job training grant, that particular grant is one that we offer that can benefit you as an employer monetarily a little bit by subsidizing some of the early hours in their training, in the employees' training process. So the first 320 hours that they're on the job, the on-the-job training grant can reimburse you 50% of their hourly wage for that first 320 hours. Kaiyuh has had wonderful success with the people that they originally hired that we put on the OJT grant. And they was just running a report just a couple of days ago that we have to look at retention rates of reentry workers on the OJT grant. And Kaiyuh has had fabulous retention, very, very good retention of these particular workers who are no longer in Sheriff Thomas's residence there in Gibson County. They are out on their own, living life on their own, restored with their families. They came in Kaiyuh as a reentry worker, and they're there today just as a regular worker, living a good, happy life and being a productive member of society there in Gibson County. So we'd love to talk to you about how the on-the-job training grant can benefit your company, and that you can take advantage of that grant when hiring reentry workers. Get in touch with us. We'd love to talk to you about that opportunity. And if you have any questions directly for Sheriff Thomas or for Sid, don't hesitate to reach out to me by email at Evans, EVANS, at nwtnworks.org. And I'll be happy to field your questions directly to Sheriff Thomas and Sid for you, and they can get back with you directly. I'm sure they'd be happy. You guys can nod if you're willing to take phone calls and meet with any of these employers who may have other questions. So that is a wrap for us today on our discussion about recruitment and retention of reentry workers as a strategy of success in building your workforce development. Again, I thank you, Sheriff Thomas and Sid.
Thank you.
Kaiyuh Services.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for all that you've done in Northwest Tennessee, in Gibson County particularly, but all over Northwest Tennessee, in bringing this this opportunity to light and the importance of it. It's one of my favorite things that we do in workforce development. So again, thank you guys for being here, and thank you all for taking time to watch this webinar, and we hope that you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.